Hi Aries, welcome to your mid to late December 2023 energy reading. My name is Kimberly from the Path Illuminated. If you are returning, thank you so much for your support. If you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm recording these slightly later than I had anticipated, but as with all things, December's been quite hectic, I think likely for everyone, especially since Mercury went retrograde on December 13th. It's actually December 21st as I'm recording this, Aries. It is the start of Capricorn season. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, we have the winter solstice. So if you are in the Southern Hemisphere, it's the summer solstice. And we do have our last full moon of the year of the Gregorian calendar on December 26th. It's a full moon in Cancer. So just a few astrological highlights for you, but I hope, Aries, that you are doing well and that you are taking care of yourself as best as you can and dealing with, you know, the chaos that usually comes with a Mercury retrograde on top of end of year shenanigans and holiday stuff that you might have going on. As I mentioned, this will be a general energy reading for the Aries collective for mid to late December 2023. This is not a personal reading. It is a general reading. However, if you are interested in a personal reading, all of my details will be linked below. Please note that the only way that you can book a personal reading with me is via my website. I will never reach out to you directly to solicit you or to consider you for a reading, and neither will any trustworthy ethical reader. So please be aware of scammers. Also, this is my only YouTube channel, and all of my social media handles are the same. At the Path Illuminated, all one word. No special characters, no spaces, no numbers, no punctuation. There are imposter accounts out there, so just please do your best to be aware, especially during Mercury retrograde. All right, as this is a general energy reading for the Aries collective, take the messages that resonate, leave the rest, put yourself where you go, and always remember that you know your life and your situation better than anyone else, Aries. So always trust your own discernment and your own judgment. And remember that you have free will. So if something comes out in the reading that you're not super stoked about or happy with, you can always shift the way that you view a situation, how you deal with a person, right? Like, energy is fluid, as is time, and we shift our reality and our opportunities based on how we engage with the world around us. So it's really important to remember that. Thank you, angels, spirits, and guides. Please help me in pulling the most relevant messages for the Aries collective from mid to late December 2023. What messages, Spirit, do you have for the Aries collective for mid to late December? Thank you, angels, spirits, and guides. Messages. All right, one more card, Spirit. Okay. Now let me get the clarifying deck here, Aries, before we get too deep into your reading. Thank you, Spirit, for helping me to provide a clear, supportive message for the Aries collective at this time. Spirit, why is the Page of Pentacles here, Spirit? Why is the Emperor here? why is the Queen of Wands? Okay. Why is the Three of Cups in reverse? Why is the Eight of Swords in reverse here? Okay. All right, Aries. Just want to make sure I don't see. This is what happens. My setup is like not super, like, it's not set up all the time. I like move things around in my little apartment, and so then like when I get set up to do the readings, sometimes, you know, usually you're the first one I'm reading for, Aries, so I usually end up having to do some adjustments. Anyways, okay, you can see all the cards. All right, so interesting energies here, Aries. The way that I'm, let me just, so this is the way I'm reading the cards that are currently out here, Aries, and you're gonna have to put yourself where you go. You may have started something new this year, in the last few months, perhaps a new job, a new endeavor, a new project, but you've been focused on your pentacles. You've been focused on your financial stability. And you've really been doing your best to align yourself with reciprocal connections, but that's mostly been focused on work and your money. I think that that's definitely seems to have been your priority, at least in the last few months, if not the last year. And to a certain degree, it feels like maybe you've put love on the back burner. Romantic love hasn't necessarily been your main focus. Emperor in reverse is kind of giving me like maybe you've been struggling with your self-confidence in this new job, in this new project, in this new endeavor, maybe you're like wanting to prove yourself, but you're intimidated by the individuals that are around you. You could also be just like struggling with your own self-image, being very overly concerned with the way that people view you and being a bit controlling as well, right? You might be struggling a bit with that. It's clarified by the Five of Wands in reverse. So kind of what I'm getting here, Aries, is that any perceived conflicts or judgments of others are just that. What does that mean? Your insecurity, your imposter syndrome, your overly focusing on like, how do I do this right to gain acceptance? Like I'm new at this job, or I just got this promotion, or I just started this project, this endeavor. I think that what this is saying for me is that like the conflict is within, it's not outside of yourself. So if you are constantly worried about and overly concerned about people judging you, or how they perceive you, oftentimes we create stories in our mind and create conflict that's not there, because you can just start to, I mean, I think it's really something we all struggle with, Aries, especially when we're starting something new and we're dealing with our own like internal insecurities, is that we can start to project onto other people, whether it's friends, family, or coworkers, things that are not true, right? Somebody could just be minding their business, but for some reason, because of your insecurity, because they're busy and they don't have time to hang out as much as they used to, you start to believe that they don't like you, or they're judging you, or they're talking about you. But you have no idea that that's going on. But because of the fact that you are dealing with insecurities within yourself and you're not feeling confident, you're not feeling grounded, your mind is playing tricks on you. And so I think that's something that you've been struggling with in this new sort of phase of wanting to be open to love in various forms. Two of Cups is all forms. It's reciprocal relationships, but it's very much tied to the heart. What I would say is that I think, Aries, it's likely been easier for you to throw yourself into work and into that situation, and you may have been neglecting friends and family, and you may have created scenarios in your head that were not true, that feed into this internal lack of confidence and imposter syndrome. Now, I do see you coming out of this, right? Because I do view the Queen of Wands, which is very much fire energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And one thing I just like to always remind folks of, there is no gender in tarot. If a Queen of Wands shows up and I'm reading that as your energy, Aries, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a feminine. It just means that you're showing up in a Queen of Wands energy, right? Or even the Emperor, right? That doesn't mean that you're necessarily a masculine or even a man gender-wise, right? This is just an energy. So please keep that in mind when I'm reading the cards and I'm stringing together the story, and make sure that you fill in the gaps. So it's like you are this Queen of Wands. You are attractive, you are passionate, you do have a big heart, Aries, but you're definitely struggling with finding the encouragement and momentum to move forward, maybe to step into this energy because you're dealing with this insecurity. I don't know if it's like, I want to shift the light a little bit. I don't know if it's a sense of like, are you waiting for somebody else, Aries, to confirm that you are who you are? Are you waiting for someone else to give you permission to move in the direction that you're being led? Are you waiting for somebody else to tell you that it's okay to be confident? If that's something you're struggling with, you need to realize that nobody outside of yourself gets to determine your worth, your value, or who you are. Right? As long as you know who you are, you can do whatever you want. Now, Three of Cups in reverse, clarified by Nine of Pentacles. I'm seeing this as an energy of like, maybe you have been you're having to shut some people out. Maybe you're having to say no to some of the invitations to go out and to party at this time during the holiday season, because you really need to sit in some contemplation about what it is that you want to do, Aries. So Nine of Pentacles, all of the knights in the decks are cards of action, but the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest knight in the deck. This is earth energy. We are in Capricorn season as of today. You know, this knight has a plan to move forward, wants to move forward, but they want to make sure that they have all of their ducks in a row, they have all of the supplies they need, and that they have the route properly mapped out, so to speak. So I'm seeing this as like, I definitely feel like this Three of Cups in reverse is as a hint to the Mercury retrograde energy, the end of the year energy. I think like, yes, there are a lot of people who are out and going to holiday parties and celebrating, and you may very well want to do that, but with the limited time that you have right now, I think you really are being encouraged by Spirit to spend some time really thinking about how it is you want to move forward. And by doing that, you're going to come out of this place of overthinking and questioning yourself and being trapped in that overthinking of like, oh, well, am I good enough? Do these people like me? Are they going to approve of my work? I think like you taking the time to prioritize how you want to move in the new year in 2024, what your goals are with regard to this, either this new job or a job that you have applied for, or a project or a promotion, something that is new, right? Whether it has recently been started or it's something that you know or you're going to be moving more into in the new year, in order to come out of this imposter syndrome, this insecurity, this creating of stories of people talking about you or doubting you, when really it's just a reflection of your own self-doubt, your own insecurity, your own imposter syndrome. You finally recognizing who you are and realizing that it is only you that gets to decide when it's time to move forward, but you're going to have to make the time to do that, which means you're going to have to prioritize yourself. And if you do want to make a substantial investment in this job, in this project, in this collaboration, you really do need to spend the end of this year really considering your next steps. And that's, as you do that, right, whether it's like applying for the job or having coffee with colleagues that you've met, right, versus partying, right? Like going to have tea with somebody to discuss your new role, or how you can do more, or, you know, whatever it is, whatever you're focused on right now, because you're going to have to fill in the gap. I definitely feel like this has to do with some type of project or a collaboration or a new job or a new role within that company. You spending the time to think about how it is that you want to show up in 2024 in this new area for yourself is what's going to help you come out of that overthinking. And clarified by the Queen of Cups, it is by opening your heart. It is by being emotional. It is by being vulnerable with yourself and with people that you can trust, whether that is, you know, a tarot reader, a therapist, a coach, right? But ultimately, what I'm getting here is that you need to get to the heart of the matter, which means going deep within your emotions, which I know, Aries, can be challenging, especially when you just want to get ish done, right? It's like you just want to make your money. You want people to see you the way that you are. But again, right, like this has nothing to do with other people, Aries. This has to do with how you view yourself. Because once you're confident in yourself, once you know that how you feel about you and what matters to you, that's all that matters, and that you're the only person that gets to determine what your worth is. You're the only person that gets to decide who you are, how you show up, and you're the only person that can give yourself permission to move in this way, to have this confidence to show up as the Queen of Wands, instead of like feeling like you have to apologize because like, oh, well, I'm new here, or like, this is the first time I've done this role. Like, you still need to understand who you are and realize that everything comes from within and you don't need other people to recognize it. Like, I appreciate that you want to do a good job, Aries. You're very hardworking in that way, but don't be so, it seems like you definitely have been so preoccupied with the way that you feel like other people are viewing you that it's caused you to doubt yourself. But those are just stories you're telling yourself. Yeah, Strength card of Leo. Again, this is a reference, I think, to this Queen of Cups, opening your heart, going deep, feeling your feelings, Aries, whether that's like crying about the fact that like maybe things didn't turn out the way that you wanted to, or maybe you're just acknowledging the fact that like, wow, I've really been doubting myself and I've been waiting for somebody else to tell me who I really am. And like, I realize that I've hurt myself in that, and I'm pulling on the strength of my heart to remind myself who I am, how beautiful I am, that I am connected to the divine, and that following my heart is ultimately what's going to lead me to success. Okay, Spirit, can I get a few? Oh. The Empress, you know, you are fertile. So if you're not trying to get pregnant, I always have to say this, make sure you act accordingly, use protection. But this is a card of Taurus, so this is very grounded. Again, like under here with this Queen of Wands, the Empress is the queen of all queens, Aries. So this is like remembering who the F you are, remembering how abundant you are, and knowing that just believing in your own power, believing in your own beauty, believing in your own magic, believing in your own ability to attract abundance is what leads it to you, because you first have to believe that you are worthy of it. And that worthiness doesn't come from someone else's validation, Aries. I'm getting that very strongly. You need to know who the F you are before anyone else is going to recognize it. You have to stop waiting for someone else to recognize that in you. I get more cards. Six of Pentacles, definitely working on balancing out how you're investing your time and energy, making sure in the new year that you are only giving to those that are giving to you, right? That you can be generous, but don't overextend yourself, Aries. You don't have to prove that you are a good person when you are a good person, because when you are a good person, it comes out naturally. King of Pentacles for me is another reminder don't believe that being anxious and worried and in fear and believing that you have to kill yourself, burn yourself out, do everything, say yes to every job that comes your way. That's not how you gain abundance, right? Being so worried about losing money that you never give back to charity, you never help out when you can, right? Like hoarding your money, hoarding your resources, and acting out of a place of paranoia and fear of loss is a scarcity mindset, but you're the Empress. So I definitely think there's going to be a lot of internal work that you're doing during the end of this year, during Mercury retrograde, to identify those stories, those narratives, those old thought patterns that have made you question yourself, your magic, and your ability, coming into balance within yourself and within your relationships, and remembering that you are the Empress. It's going to be letting go of a lot of those fears around financial loss or instability, the belief that you have to, burn yourself out, work all the time, do all the time. That's something you're going to be working to release during this period. The Chariot, which is a card of Cancer, which for me is really indicative of the last full moon of the year being in Cancer. I think it's going to be a really good time, Aries, for you to really identify the old ways of being, the old thought patterns, the scarcity mindset, the imposter syndrome, the insecurities, the fear of judgment of others, the stories that are no longer actually supportive of you. This is going to be the time to release those things, including, any sort of scarcity mindset or fear of around your finances. I think this Cancer full moon is definitely going to be a very powerful portal for you to let go of all of those things so that you can move into 2024 very confident in who you are and understanding that really and truly, right? And we have the lion here and here, that like your power and your magic, Aries, is in your heart. And it is in remembering who you are and remembering how magical, abundant, and capable you are, and not allowing the potential judgment of others or any fear of the unknown to stop you from releasing those things that are actually keeping you stuck. So I just pulled a card from Messages from the Spirits of Nature Oracle, and we got water, lifeblood. So I'm just going to pull that up in the book here and read it for you. All right. Water is one of the 4 primary elements. It is so essential that no life would exist without it. It shows up in a multitude of visible and non-visible expressions, from grandmother ocean to the blood in your body. It's required to lubricate joints, support digestion, regulate body temperature, help your brain function optimally, and excrete waste. For the planet, it plays a complex role in regulating and balancing the ecosystem through its collaboration with the other primary elements of earth, air, and fire. Water has also served as a centerpiece of symbolic and religious rituals for humans for thousands of years cross-culturally, in which it's used to honor the sacred value of life and the spiritual dimension of purification, protection, and healing. It's too often taken for granted until there is a scarcity, at which point it activates the survival instinct that compels all organisms to immediately seek it out. It is truly the lifeblood for the planet and all physical beings. Message: pause for a few moments and quietly contemplate how water miraculously courses through your entire body, saturating and nourishing it in so many different ways. Consider how essential it is to all living beings and to Mother Earth herself, circulating naturally throughout the planet. Notice how there's been a lack of the same natural fluidity in both your physical movements and in the trajectory of your life. That's because you're holding in a lot of emotion that has yet to be acknowledged and released. In other words, you're dammed up and constricted as your body cooperates in your efforts to hold back your feelings. You're also noticing how this has affected your day-to-day functioning as well. You're carrying out your tasks rather stiffly with a lack of ease. Make it a point to drink water to nourish your body and soul. It will remind you of the critical importance of this lifeblood, as well as the need to remain emotionally fluid. Before drinking your first glass of water upon waking, pour a little on the ground as an expression of gratitude to Mother Earth. Move a little slower and more gracefully throughout the day, reminding yourself how water is so pervasive and so vital to your well-being that it deserves to be honored as a sacred gift. Give yourself opportunities to allow the expression of emotions that are behind the attempts to dismiss or disguise them. Let the tears of grief flow so that the tears of joy may follow. Yeah, Aries, I know that it's easier to intellectualize your feelings, and that sometimes, and very much so in the society, we've been lied to and told that being emotional is being weak, and that's not true. I think you need to get back to befriending your emotions and understanding that your emotions are just data, but they're also your connection to the divine, and that who you are is more than just your accomplishments. It's more than the money that you make. It's really in your heart. And I think letting that emotion flow, acknowledging it, letting go of the need to keep up appearances, and realizing that being your authentic, loving self is actually where you're going to find all of your magic. So don't forget that, Aries. I hope these messages resonated for you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.